right, President Biden's own party is worried he is losing support from key voter groups that could cost him the election. Listen to this. A new poll shows Biden only 16 points ahead of Trump with non-white voters without a college degree, a group he won by 48 points in 2020. Janelle King is the co-chair of Let's Win for America Action, and she joins us now. Janelle, good morning to you. So things are trending in the wrong direction for President Biden when it comes to this group of voters. Why is he losing support among these folks who traditionally vote Democrat?
Well, first, good morning, and thank you for having me again. I believe that we have to look at this from the perspective of that these voters are courting the Republican Party. I believe that we are not seeing a commitment as of yet. We have a lot of issues that are working on our behalf as Republicans. For instance, you had the recent Neo situation where he stated that, parents should not be forced to have to mutilate their children. I mean, that's a topic that's really resonating amongst parents across the country. You have Ice Cube, who's just tired of bowing down to the culture and tired of being told that he has to answer to the gatekeepers. So there's a lot of issues that are working in our favor. And I have to make sure that we ensure that we no longer continue to allow particularly Black voters to court the Republican Party, but that we present them with something that says, you know what, we understand what your cultural priorities are, we understand what your political priorities are, and that we're willing to go after that. And that's where we are right now. We have a lot of people who are standing up and who are talking about these issues and who are doing it without fear or concern of the backlash. And it's the more we see the confidence rise, the more we see more of these discussions happen on the ground, I think we're going to continue to see these numbers grow. But the Democratic Party has lied, particularly to the Black community, for over 50 years, and they're continuing to lie and show that they don't care. And that's why we're seeing this rise of new voters.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And the reason for this trend might be twofold. I think that Donald Trump does tend to resonate more with the blue-collar worker, and he's gaining support there for Republicans. But also, if you look at what Democrats are focusing on right now, it's identity politics. And those issues tend to resonate with the Ivy League Hollywood crowd more than anyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. Because when you start talking about playing identity politics, you're playing to the melanin in the skin. You're playing to what you believe are their cultural priorities, when in fact, everyone wants the same things. My husband always tells me, we want to live in a good community. We want to be safe. We want to make sure we can educate our kids properly. And we want to make sure that we can make a living and take care of our families. Yeah. I mean, that is what people want. And I think that the Democrat Party has moved towards this more elitist perspective that's like, I'm smarter than you. I can make decisions for you. Just follow me. And you don't have to don't ask any questions. I don't have to answer your question. And that energy is just not resonating with the American people. We are awake now. We want to make sure we vote for the right people.
Well, Janelle, there is a lot going on with President Biden right now, given all the news on the Biden family business, Devin Archer testimony. He hasn't taken any questions when it comes to that, but he did just sit down for an interview with the Weather Channel. Take a listen to a part of it here.
I want to stop all drilling on the East Coast and the West Coast and in the Gulf. The private sector is coming off the sidelines. They've invested $250 billion in alternative energy. There's so much going on. Finally, no one can any longer deny that we don't have a problem with climate change.
So, he's talking about climate change now, but his critics are going to have a field day with this one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel like Joe Biden and the Democrat Party as a whole is just masters at talking about things that the American people are not talking about. When I talk to people on the ground, they're talking about their inability to feed their families. They're talking about what's happening in our schools. They're talking about issues that are resonating with their personal lives. And I think it's clear and it's safe to say that I don't think that Joe Biden understands the American people. I don't think he cares about us. I think he sees this as an opportunity to continue to advance his elitism. I think we are looking at someone who doesn't have any experience being on the ground. He hasn't built a business from the ground up like many of our small businesses. He hasn't done the things that most people are doing. His career has been government, and so has his family. And And that's where we are right now. And so this whole perspective of, talking about issues that the American people are just not talking about is where the problem lies.
Janelle, we've got to get to this. Out of Washington, D.C., a councilman there is calling for the National Guard to come in because violent crime has increased so much. 161 people have been killed so far this year. He's now calling for the National Guard to come in to help combat it. But if you remember what happened when Senator Tom Cotton suggested the same thing during the riots of 2020, the editor of New York Times was forced to resign because of the op-ed that he wrote. So what a difference a few years makes.
Yeah, I feel like on the Republican side, we have a ability to see the long-term effects of things. We understand that compassion can be very much so misused. My favorite economist, Thomas Sowell, said that the cause or the reason for disparities in communities, it typically falls into three categories: the lack of family stability, the understanding of cultural priorities, as well as the repeated patterns of problematic behavior. And when you have these three things happening in communities and you're not addressing it, instead you're using it to perpetuate a narrative to win elections, this is what you're going to get.
Janelle King, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.